Okay, here's our video for least common multiple, which we'll call LCM. Our learning target is learners can find the first multiple that two or more numbers have in common. So make sure you write least common multiple, LCM, as the title of your page, and then write down the learning target so that you know what this video is about. If you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I will be going on to my next screen. Okay, we have one definition, and that is a multiple. The multiple is kind of hard to write, but the multiple is the product of that number and any non-zero number. Okay, so if I want to know the multiples of 5, for example, then I would do 5 times a non-zero number. So the first one would be 5 times 1, which is 5, then 5 times 2, which is 10, then 5 times 3, which is 15. So these are the multiples of 5. Okay, and you can continue down, and then 25, 30, 35. So it's that number times any non-zero number. And those are your multiples of 5. So if you go in order, you start with 1 and go consecutively. Okay? Make sure you write down that definition, and when you're done, go ahead and move on. Otherwise, if you need to pause it, do that right now. Okay, example 1, I'm going to show you the listing method. So just like GCF, I'm going to do multiple methods. So first, for the listing method, all I'm going to do is list out the multiples of the numbers. I'm just going to list out a couple. There's multiples can go on, so if you list out 4 or 5 or 6 and you don't have an answer yet, then you just list out 4 or 5 or 6 more. So I'm going to list the multiples for 3, so it's going to be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Then I'm going to list the multiples for 6. That's going to be 6, 12, 18, 24. Okay, then I'm going to look for common multiples. Okay, I'm going to look at my list to see what they have in common. They have a 6 in common. They have a 12 in common. Okay, and they would have more in common because remember this list goes on. But I found one they have in common. Now this is least common multiple, so I want to find the least, or the first number that they have in common. The first number that they have in common is 6. So the LCM equals 6. Okay. For B, I'm going to list these out. Now these are 3 numbers, so I'm going to list out. I have to find the first number that all 3 numbers share. So I'm going to list some out, and then I'm going to list out some for 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Then I'm going to list some out for 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. There's no set number you have to list out. Now I have to find a number that all 3 of them share. Okay, I have an 8 that these two share, but no 8 down there. Okay, I have a 10 that these two share, but no 10 up there. These guys are sharing 12, but no 12 down there. These guys are sharing 20. Well, I don't know if this one shares 20 because I'm not that far, so then I have to continue. 14, 16, 18, 20. Oh, it does go as far as 20. So there's the first number that they all share. It's the least common multiple of all 3. So you have to find the one that goes into all 3, which is 20. Notice in 2, I had to write more because I wasn't far enough. So just because you make an initial list doesn't mean you're done. Sometimes you have to write more. Okay, you find the first number they all have in common, and that is 20. So the LCM is 20. Okay. If you need to pause, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll be going on to example 2. In example 2, I'm going to use prime factorization to find the LCM. This method is going to be similar to the GCF method. So first, you want to have your prime factorization chart, so you can just look at what these are, and you're going to write these out. 2 times 2 times 3. For 9, that is 3 times 3. So just like GCF, I'm going to find out what they have in common. I write it down. They have a 3 in common, so that's a 3. Now, that's the GCF. They have nothing else in common. I'm not looking for GCF, I'm looking for LCM. Here's the difference. Anything that's left over, I multiply what is left over. Okay? They had a 2 left over, they had a second 2 left over, and they had a 3 left over. So it's the numbers you circled multiplied by what is left over. Then you just multiply those. Remember, you can use calculators if you need help, but these aren't too bad. That's 6, 12, 36. So the LCM equals 36. It's the first number that 9 and 12 go into. Okay, 24 and 30, I'm going to do the same thing. So for 24, I'm going to write it out. That's 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. 30 is going to be 2 times 3 times 5. Okay? Then again, first thing I do is circle what they share. They share a 2, and they share a 3. I can't circle those 2's because that's not one from each number. Okay? That 1, 2 comes down to a 2. That's a shared number. Then a 3. That's a shared number. Okay? And then I multiply what's left over. Times 2, times 2, times 5. Okay? Now I multiply them. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. And 24 times 5 is 120. So your LCM, the least common multiple, is 120. It's the first number that they have in common. Okay? So again, you are finding what they have in common and then multiplying what is left over. Okay? So that's what you're looking for on this. And that is how you find LCM using the prime factorization. Okay? If you need to go back and watch anything, go ahead. Otherwise, I will talk to you guys later.